Last night's episode of Good Morning America erupted into unprecedented conflict when Ricky Gervais demanded "say that again" after George Stephanopoulos accused him of profiting from cruelty disguised as comedy. The British comedian didn't just defend his work. He systematically exposed Stephanopoulos' own journalistic failures that ABC had worked desperately to minimize. But what started as promotion for Gervais's new stand-up tour would reveal disturbing truths about how morning news anchors present themselves as moral authorities while burying their own ethical compromises. The ABC News studios in Times Square carried palpable tension from the moment Gervais arrived. The 62-year-old comedian was there to discuss his upcoming American tour examining free speech and comedy, a topic guaranteed to create friction given recent controversies. But George Stephanopoulos had prepared something particularly hostile. A production assistant later revealed overhearing Stephanopoulos tell his team, "This British provocateur needs to be exposed for what he is, a bully hiding behind humor." The preparation notes included lists of Gervais's most controversial jokes arranged to appear maximally offensive without context. Therefore, when cameras went live at 7:18 that morning, Gervais walked into what was essentially a prosecutorial interrogation disguised as an interview. The show began with its typical morning pleasantries, Robin Roberts handling weather while Michael Strahan discussed weekend sports. Stephanopoulos sat rigidly at his desk, reviewing extensive notes with unusual intensity for what should have been a straightforward celebrity interview. Gervais waited in the green room, apparently watching cat videos on his phone with complete indifference to the hostile preparation happening meters away. His publicist would later describe him as eerily relaxed, like someone who knew exactly what was coming and had prepared something special in response. When Stephanopoulos finally announced, "Please welcome comedian Ricky Gervais," the comedian strolled out with his characteristic smirk, greeting Robin and Michael warmly, while giving Stephanopoulos an exaggerated bow that somehow felt mocking. "Ricky, your comedy has been called cruel, offensive, and harmful. Don't you think it's time to evolve beyond shock humor?" Stephanopoulos began immediately, skipping any welcome or pleasantries. Gervais chuckled softly. "Morning to you too, George. Interesting start. Tell me, is this journalism or a trial?" "Should I have brought my lawyer?" he said cheerfully. "I'm asking about accountability." "Your jokes hurt people," Stephanopoulos pressed. "And your journalism? When you were spinning for Clinton, how many people did that hurt? Should we compare damage?" Gervais replied smoothly. Therefore, the confrontation escalated immediately. Robin Roberts shifted uncomfortably. Michael Strahan looked between them with growing concern. But Stephanopoulos doubled down. "We're not discussing me. We're discussing your problematic comedy," he said firmly. Problematic. Interesting word. You know what's problematic? A journalist who took money from the Clintons then covered them without disclosure. "But please, lecture me about ethics," Gervais said. The reference to Stephanopoulos' undisclosed donations stunned the studio. But Gervais was just beginning. He pulled out his phone casually. "Should I read your emails from the WikiLeaks dump? The ones where you're coordinating coverage with political operatives? Or is that different?" he asked. "Those were taken out of context," Stephanopoulos protested, his face reddening. "Context? The context was you pretending to be objective while being a political operative. At least I admit I'm offensive." "You pretend you're not," Gervais replied. He turned to the camera, addressing viewers directly. "This man wants to discuss harmful comedy while he's been harmful journalism for decades. The difference is my audience knows I'm joking," he said. "You're deflecting from your responsibility," Stephanopoulos accused. "Say that again," Gervais commanded suddenly, his smile vanishing. "Say I'm deflecting. Say it clearly." The studio went quiet. Stephanopoulos hesitated. The power dynamic had shifted completely. "Go on, George. You were so brave 10 seconds ago." "Say that again," Gervais pressed. "You're deflecting from the harm your comedy causes," Stephanopoulos said, but his voice had lost conviction. "And you're deflecting from the harm your propaganda caused. How many wars did you help sell? How many lies did you help spread? But my jokes are the problem," Gervais asked. He stood up slowly. "You know what's really offensive, George? pretending to be news while being public relations, pretending to be objective while being partisan, pretending to care about truth while spreading lies, he said. I've never spread lies, Stephanopoulos claimed desperately. No? Should we discuss your coverage of weapons of mass destruction? Your certainty about Russian collusion? Your dismissal of the laptop story that turned out true? Which lie should we start with? Gervais asked. Each example landed precisely. The audience could see Stephanopoulos struggling to respond. But Gervais revealed something devastating. You know what your former ABC colleague told me? That you spike stories that hurt Democrats. That you have a white list and blacklist of guests based on politics. That's not journalism, George. That's activism, he said. That's absolutely false, Stephanopoulos protested. Really? Then explain why you've never had a single conservative comedian on, but you've had every liberal one multiple times. Explain the pattern, Gervais challenged. The statistical reality was undeniable. But Gervais wasn't finished. He pulled out a piece of paper. This is a list of stories you personally killed. Stories that were true but politically inconvenient. Your own reporters confirmed this. Should I read it? He asked. Those are internal editorial decisions, Stephanopoulos said weakly. Editorial or political? Because these all hurt the same party. That's not coincidence. That's bias, Gervais replied. He walked toward the exit, then stopped. I'm done with this show. But before I leave, let me explain something about comedy versus propaganda, he said. Comedy admits it's subjective. Propaganda pretends it's objective. Comedy knows it's entertainment. Propaganda pretends it's information. I'm honest about what I do. You're not, he continued. I'm a journalist, Stephanopoulos insisted. No, you're a Democrat with a television show. There's a difference between reporting news and manufacturing consent. You manufacture consent, Gervais replied. He looked directly at the camera. To everyone watching, remember this. The people who police your speech usually have the most to hide. The loudest critics often have the worst records. And those demanding apologies never give them, he said. This will hurt your American tour, Stephanopoulos threatened. Gervais laughed genuinely. My tour? It's already sold out. Your threats are as empty as your ethics. But your credibility? That's about to tank, he said. But then he delivered the killing blow. You know what the real difference is between us, George? My audience knows I'm performing. Yours doesn't. That's not entertainment. That's deception, he said. He walked off to scattered applause. Some audience members stood. Others sat stunned. The show cut to commercial and chaos. We're experiencing technical difficulties, Robin Roberts said when they returned, clearly disturbed. Within seconds, hashtag Gervais exposes George was trending globally. The clips went viral instantly. Every accusation was being investigated. Documentation supporting Gervais's claims began surfacing. Former ABC employees confirmed the killed stories. The pattern of partisan coverage became undeniable. Stephanopoulos' undisclosed conflicts of interest resurfaced everywhere. Stephanopoulos attempted damage control. Ricky Gervais ambushed us with conspiracy theories and personal attacks, he claimed. But viewers had seen who started the hostility. Gervais had simply finished it. The evidence supporting his claims was overwhelming. Gervais released a brilliant statement. I went on to discuss comedy. George wanted to discuss ethics. So we discussed his. He didn't enjoy that. Perhaps he should have been friendlier. The tour Stephanopoulos had threatened sold out additional dates within hours. Audiences wanted to support someone who'd stood up to media power. ABC faced a credibility crisis. Investigations into partisan coverage began. Stephanopoulos' role came under intense scrutiny. His position became increasingly untenable. The incident became known as the Gervais mirror, showing accusers their own reflection. Universities taught it as an example of how to counter hypocritical criticism. But the deeper impact was on media criticism of comedy. Gervais had shown that those policing humor often had worse records than comedians. That moral authority was often immoral. Stephanopoulos took extended leave that became permanent. His decades-long career in television news effectively ended. The image of him being exposed by a comedian became his legacy. Meanwhile, Gervais's tour became his most successful ever. His confrontation with Stephanopoulos became part of his act, getting standing ovations nightly. Years later, Gervais would say, George Stephanopoulos tried to destroy my comedy by claiming moral superiority. I destroyed his journalism by showing his moral bankruptcy. Turns out truth is funnier than propaganda. The empty desk Stephanopoulos left wasn't filled easily. His exposure had revealed systemic problems beyond one anchor. The entire structure of partisan journalism, disguised as news, was exposed. And Ricky Gervais, who'd come to promote comedy, had instead promoted truth. By demanding someone say that again, he'd made them confront what they'd actually said the first time. In the end, the comedian who admitted being offensive proved more honest than the journalist who pretended to be objective. And that honesty, delivered with a smirk and perfect timing, had exposed everything.